So we're just about set for a start here at Pukekohe Park Raceway for round 3 of the UDC V8 Utes. As we have a look at the grid, it is Brett the Scud Rudd, the best of the qualifiers, on pole position. Alongside him, Mike Lightfoot. Second row, Chris Walton and Glenn Collinson. Third row, Peter Ward and Sam Barry. We move on to grid position number 7, and you'll find Jeremy Gray from Australia, and alongside him, Dirty Dave Kernahan. Next row, Jeff Spencer and Jack Coford out of the Gold Coast these days, and Peter Robb and John Penny make up the grid here for the UDC Utes race number 1. Once again, I'm joined in commentary by Richard Gee, media person for this amazing class of racing. And Richard, huge crowd, time for these guys to really perform.
Yep, massive crowd, biggest event of the year for these guys, so let's see how they go.
So away we go, and it's Brett Rudd on pole position, and trying to come across on the inside is Mike Lightfoot in the Precision Engineering So Eurodrive forward in second place. Then it's Chris Walton. Watch for him, because he was absolutely dominant here at Pukekohe Park Raceway the last time they raced, and he leads the UDC V8 Utes Championship point situation. There he is, the multi-spares forward further down through the field, making their way cautiously out onto the back straight for the first of 8 times, and it's the Scud. What an amazing job he did in qualifying.
Well, yeah, great start for Brett. That was his first ever pole position. They were celebrating that in the paddock. I don't know whether you noticed at the start, Mike gave Killer the squeeze on the going into turn 1 and came out best that time, but it looks like he's got Walton really fired up.
Big lock up there as they come into the new complex here at Pukekohe. Close as you want to be. Peter Chaos Ward there in the mix, and the Ward Demolition Holden, but it's a Holden out in the front. Then it's the Ford of Mike Buzz Lightfoot.
And they want to really watch out for flat spotting the tyres at this stage. A very heavy machine. Any of those lockups that you see are likely to result in flat spot on the tyres, and that's only going to get worse as each of the races go on.
Some positional change there by the look of it. Great to see a couple of other Australians in the field. Well, a Kiwi that's living in Australia, and Jack Coford in the Mobil 1 truck.
Collinson going wide. Yeah, look, it is good. Jeremy lost it in Gray. He's a regular in the Aussie series. Jack works over in Australia these days, but he wanted to come back and do some big event racing, and he's got himself lined up in this in the category Holden, which is the one that you can see. It's a bit at the back there, but it's got Coffee Guy sponsorship and Mobil 1 sponsorship that he's pulled together to get out there racing. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes over the 4 races.
All right, so already the top 3 starting to get away. It is the Pellet Supplies Holden from the So Eurodrive Ford, and then it's the multi-spares Ford of Chris Walton. Killer is the nickname, Killer down the inside of Lightfoot as they go down into the complex again. He'll have track position. Lightfoot will have to give up that spot. He does so the Australian goes up into second place, and now he's in hot pursuit of the Scud.
Yeah, that's a great pass going into the new section, and Brett was significantly quicker than the rest of the field in qualifying. It was wet, but it was a great lap he put together. He's really determined. All the drivers will tell you the Holdens have a little bit of an edge here just on the aerodynamic straight line speed, but look, if anyone can catch him, it's Killer.
Well, everyone was saying, weren't they, in the pre-race publicity that, yeah, just as you said, the Holdens have got an edge here at Pukekohe. This is a Holden track.
But we've got a Ford in second and a Ford in third.
Exactly right. Jeff Spencer just getting a little bit sideways as they come up over the top and down the front straight once again. Probably the second fastest part of the racetrack. Big move coming here from Jack. Fanta Coford trying to get down the inside of Kernahan. Can't get the job done though. Great to see Jack back in New Zealand. Got his start racing in the BMW E30 series. And then of course he raced in the V8 Challenge Cup with the Super Tourers.
And this really is his first experience of the Ute in the dry. Pretty much most of yesterday when they were qualifying was wet. And you know, it's good to see him getting stuck in straight away. He's obviously feels at home with the power and the weight. Oh, look at that. Plenty of action further down the field there. It's a great view of the overhead.
So plenty of cameras capturing the action here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. This is part of the support program for the ITM 500. The Australian V8 supercars are here in force, and so are the crowds, and they're enjoying this. Sam Barry now being stalked by his one-time teammate, but they had all sorts of problems, didn't they, at Highlands?
Yeah, I think Mike's missed a gear there or something similar, because Wardy just pounced on him going down the straight. It looks like doesn't look like there's a problem with the Ute, but it just was slow on the straight there.
So that battle behind the older teammates, between the new teammates, the SRT teammates, Peter Chaos Ward and Mike Buzz Lightfoot. Lightfoot there in the green Ford, and Chaos, and once again a lock up there from Glenn Collinson.
Well, he'll be locking up on the flat spot that he created earlier. I think that's what's likely.
As we cut back to the leaders, I think you'll find that Peter Ward might have gone up the inside of him there. We'll check back with that. Over the hill they come once again. The crowd getting into this. Not too many laps to run here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. And the Scud is holding out the points leader and the champion driver from Australia, and that is Chris Killer-Walton.
Well, he's doing a great job. They are gapping the rest of the field here. I just wonder how long Brett can hang on with that kind of pressure, but he's doing a great job so far.
Well, I'm sure his engineers, Glenn and Blair Davey, will be in his ear just telling him just to calm it down, just stay in the front, just stay focused, don't worry about what's going on behind you. And I'm sure that'll be the advice too from Glenn Collinson, as Peter Ward is all over the back of him as they come out onto the back straight once again. There's that battle at the front, and look at this little freight train here.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is Sam Barry has gapped those three guys behind, so he's definitely got pace, Sam, or might be Glenn holding up Wardy a little bit there, but Wardy's going to have a look.
Oh, chaos gets a little bit racy as they head down into the new part of the track. We cut back to the leaders, and the pass has been made. Well, maybe, Richard, the pressure has finally tailed on the Scud because he's gone back into second, so it's the Ford, the multi-spares Ford of Queensland's Killer-Walton, Chris Killer-Walton in the front now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap. I wonder whether we missed it, but if Brett made a small mistake somewhere, maybe under braking, because that's where Chris will pounce.
Maybe Glenn Collinson's made a bit of a mistake as well, because Wardy's got by him as the rest of the field goes through. And he's got a little bit of distance now over Mike Buzz Lightfoot as they come up over the top of the ITM mountain to complete yet another lap. Here is the replay of the pass.
Yeah.
Oh, just a bit of a lock-up, and he's just run a little bit wide, and that's all the incentive that Walton needed. So we go back to the front of the field as they have exited the complex and into the hairpin once again. These Utes have got fantastic brake packages, haven't they? And I guess they have to have, because you go from 190, 200 odd kilometres an hour down to 60 in some of these corners.
The brakes are fantastic, in many ways stronger than the tyres. They're really good for the job.
So this is the man that leads the current UDC V8 Utes points table here in New Zealand. Third in Australia. He said his ambition is to win both of them. Checkered flag comes out, and it is Chris Killer-Walton from Queensland gets the win. But what about the drive from Brett the Scud Rudd? Third place, pretty lonely old third place too for Sam Barry, and then it's Peter Chaos Ward, one of the originals, along with Mike Buzz Lightfoot. Jack Cofer just coming across the line there, just in front of Jeremy Gray, the other Australian in the field. But this man, well, he's proved once again Pukekohe Park Raceway is a happy hunting ground for the Queenslander. Chris Walton wins the UDC V8 Utes here at Puke. So official results now for race 1 of 4 for the UDC V8 Utes sees the Australian Chris Walton on top. Brett Rudd through in second place, and it was Sam Barry, Peter Ward, Mike Buzz Lightfoot, and then John Penny. In 7th place, Jeff Spencer. 8th was Glenn Collinson. 9th, Jack Coford. And in 10th, the other Australian, Jeremy Gray. Race number 2 for the UDC V8 Utes comes to the line, and this one, the grid position's decided by a marble draw, so you've got to run your luck as much as anything else. Peter Chaos Ward draws marble number 1. Alongside of him, it'll be Jeremy Gray from Australia. Row number 2 is Jeff Spencer and Brett Rudd, and in row number 3, it is Sam Barry, along with the race 1 winner from Australia, Chris Walton. He's got a bit more work to do this time. Row number 4 sees Glenn Collinson and Dirty Dave Kernahan, and in row number 6, it's John Penny and Mike Buzz Lightfoot. And in row 7, Peter Robb and Jack Coford brings up the rear of the field here in the UDC V8 Utes. Lights about to go out here at Pukekohe Park Raceway, and we're racing in a good start too, coming from Peter Chaos Ward. And when Wardy's in the field, you just don't know what to expect, do you? Good drive up the inside from Jeff Spencer as well in the Jackson Enterprises, dude. Well, going with him, Brett Rudd.
Yeah, Jeff definitely lit it up at the start there. Sam Barry at the back got an awful start from mid-grid.
Just have a look there for the number 16 Ute, the multi-spares Ford. That's Chris Killer-Walton from Queensland in Australia. And he's still mired in the back of the pack, so a great start from Wardy, one of the originals here in the UDC V8 Utes. Going with him there, Jeremy Gray from Australia. Jeremy Lost It Gray. It's an amazing story, isn't it, some of the stories behind the nicknames. Jeremy Gray there, a motocross exponent back home in New South Wales in Muswellbrook, muscling his way around the field here, trying to get a better position as they work their way into the complex.
Well, there's plenty of contact going on, Phil. I think it's partly because that section of the track's still fairly damp. They're shifting around and sliding around, and it is resulting in a bit of biff there.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the technicalities of these utes. We've got the age-old battle, the Holden versus the Ford, but of course that raises the parity issue. We've mentioned before they've got huge brake packages on them. They run on controlled tyres.
Yep.
What's the secret to getting the best out of your ute?
Oh, I think because so much is similar, the tyres are identical, the brake packages are identical, the horsepower is identical. Obviously, there's a little bit between the aero on some circuits, and that's probably what, there's just the different shape of the vehicles, but it's all about the race driver setting up the car. Camber, which is, you know, how much the tyres lean out, toe in and toe out, bit of that from Brett Rudd there, just sliding out of Castrol. So toe in and toe out is whether the wheels are pointing out or in, that affects the handling. The ride height at the front, the ride height at the rear. The drivers can play around with a few things, and there's not much to choose between it, one setup or the other, but it's finding the one that suits you, if you see what I mean. Wardy.
Wardy getting very, very sideways. I was just going to say it looks like the setup's working for him, but might be good luck rather than good management. As I said, one of the originals and always a huge crowd pleaser. Peter Chaos Ward. They've all got these amazing nicknames. Jeff Spencer threw in second place at Jackson Enterprises ute. Another one of the originals.
Yeah, and I think, look, these conditions probably suit Peter Ward. It is inconsistent, different things happening in different parts of the circuit. He looks sideways, but fairly comfortable out there in front, although Jeff's not letting him go, and I'm keeping my eye on Walton, who I think's moved up to third or fourth. But that Wardy will like these conditions.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap at the moment, but you just get the feeling that it might close pretty quickly. And it looks like there's been a bit of a biff and bash for Walton to get through from grid position 6, because I see the rear vision mirror hanging off the side of the multi-spares Ford. Wardy using all the curb and then a little bit more. Spencer's run wide, and Walton says, "Thank you very much, I'll take second place."
Oh, beautiful pass. He set that up over the curbs at turn 2, and then just eased on the inside of Jeff as Jeff ran wide. Beautiful pass, clean, very, very precise. Now he can set off after Wardy.
And I think that's what we'll see. Already the daylight's starting to open up between himself and Jeff SOS Spencer there in third place now. Brett the Scud in fourth.
Oh, he's making the most of this slidey stuff, isn't he, Wardy? But I'm not sure that's the quickest way around the track right now.
Now, well, they say, don't they, that smooth is fast, but sideways is super spectacular. So maybe there's a bit of the showman about Chaos. He wants to put on a show as much as anything else.
Oh, he does love that.
And that's what this class of racing does. It really gets the spectators up out of their seats, cheering madly. It's the Holden versus Ford rivalry, but it's just the fact that you know that these cars aren't quite as technically savvy as, say, a V8 Supercar or a V8 Super Tourer, but gee whiz, they're a lot of fun to watch, and I'm sure they're a lot of fun to drive.
Look, I think that's a big part of it for the drivers. They are immense fun to drive. There are a little bit of margin for error through the corners where you can put the boot in and bring it back, especially in tricky conditions like this. Yeah, the drivers love them.
Dave Kernahan, Mike Lightfoot and Fanta, Jeff Coford. Coford having his debut meeting here in the UDC V8 Utes and putting up a pretty good account of himself,
he's getting into it, isn't he? There's no question about it. Every time he goes out, he's just getting a bit more racy, a bit more on the ball with it. So let's keep watching him.
Well, let's keep watching this battle as well as they come up over the top of the ITM mountain once again. Wardy now getting monstered by the Australian. He's tucked under the boot, deck lid, he can't get by, tries the outside, he'll dive to the inside as they work through one. Oh, and Wardy's on the edge of it, he's in there. I was going to say the Holden wants to step out, and that's exactly what happens. And that was the sign that Walton was looking for. He's going to set him up on the inside again, just using all the curb, but Ward's not going to give it up without a fight. They'll go door handle to door handle as they come out of the old Castrol corner and head down the long back straight here at Pukekohe. Well, Walton's got track position here, but is Wardy going to give it up?
This is Ute racing at its best, slugging it out side by side.
Well, you get the answer to the question. Walton's got the nose in front, but Peter Ward's not going to leave you wondering. They're going to go side by side into the complex as well. Ward's got track position. If he can live there, he might come out ahead. And all the time, the rest of the field coming back to them. Spencer's there. The Scud is there. Poor old Peter Ward's been shuffled back to fourth place. It happened in an instant.
Yeah, he tried to slug it out with Killer Walton, and I think he got hung out to dry a bit, and then Spence and Ruddy just jumped on that opportunity. Great action.
So in half a lap, we've had major changes at the front of the field. Holden on Holden here with Brett the Scud Rudd, the pellet supplies Holden, and the Ward demolition car of Peter Ward now battling out for third and fourth. Up ahead though, it is Chris Killer Walton. Look at how sideways Wardy gets it on the slow-mo replay coming into one.
Drift it, Pete.
Penny having a good long look here at Peter Ward. It's a battle for third and fourth. Brett the Scud Rudd now firmly into well, sorry, 4th and 5th. The Scud into 3rd place now, but this man in command. But he's had to work for it this time. Checkered flag comes out, and Chris Killer Walton makes it 2 for 2 in the UDC V8 Utes. Look at the scrap going on here, right to the line. That's what we want to see. Close racing all the way through. Mike Lightfoot comes across the line. Then it's Jeremy Gray, and then it was Fanta, Jack Coford. But this man has done it again here, and he'll be increasing his points lead in the championship. Chris Killer Walton gets race number 2 from Jeff Spencer, Brett Rudd, Peter Ward, JP John Penny, then Glenn Coyote Collinson, Sam Barry, Mike Buzz Lightfoot, Dirty Dave Kernahan, and Jack Fanta Coford. Race 3 for the UDC V8 Utes sees Jack Coford on pole position alongside of him, Peter Rocketman Robb, Mike Buzz Lightfoot and John JP Penny in row number 2, and in row number 3 it's Dirty Dave Kernahan and Glenn Coyote Collinson. In row number 4 it should be Chris Walton, the winner of the first 2 races of the UDC V8 Utes, alongside him Sam Barry. In row number 5 Brett the Scud Rudd and Jeff SOS Spencer, and in row number 6 Jeremy Gray from Australia and Peter Chaos Ward from Karaka. So this one decided by the reverse of the marble draw, and that's why Jack Coford is in the front, and that's why Peter Rocketman Robb is alongside him. And while Coford was on pole position, the best of the starts, Richard, looks like it's come from the Rocketman.
Oh, he's known for making good starts, and he's got away pretty well there. Jack's not got away too... Oh, it's getting busy.
Oh, there's some action further behind him. Wow, and I think Sam Barry might have been in that one, and Glenn Collinson as well. We'll keep an eye on the action at the back of the field.
Yeah, there's some bodywork. Yeah, some bodywork hanging off Sam's car. Yeah, JP's lost a wing mirror.
Oh, big damage. The front ear damage. No, it's the side skirt, I think, on the belt group forward of Sam Barry. That probably won't slow him down. We saw that at Highlands, didn't we? He had most of the records trailing behind him, but he still kept up the pace. Meantime, at the front of the field...
Coford wide.
Coford's gone way wide here, and he's going to pay the price.
Yep.
Penny's going to get up the inside of him, and off onto the grass they go. And that is the 2-time race winner, Chris Walton, and there's a bit of biff and bash going on there as well. No love lost between the Aussies and the New Zealanders. And, of course, I suppose we should mention at this stage the Trans-Tasman Challenge Cup up for decision as well.
Sam well wide on the hairpin.
Peter Ward getting all sorts of sideways and then getting it back under control again.
Well, these guys want to watch it. Their tyres will be filthy after that. Coming up to the hairiest part of the track.
Well, that scares the V8 supercar drivers, and I'm sure it scared Peter Ward, and he slams into the side of Sam Barry, and Sam Barry slams into the concrete.
Well, that was a great catch, actually, by Sam. That could have ended a lot worse than it actually looked. He's going to be able to get back onto the circuit and go racing again. It might have even torn off that loose bit of bodywork, but you don't want it closer than that over the mountain.
I tell you what, heart was in the mouth there for a little wee while. Meantime, things starting to calm down at the front of the field. Peter Rocketman Robb out in the lead. Mike Buzz Lightfoot through in 2nd place.
And Walton right at the back, Phil, right at the back.
Well, if he can come from the back to the front in as many laps as we've got here at Pukekohe Park Raceway, then I will crown him the hero of Pukekohe.
And I'm watching Coford. He'll be ruining that poor start. Cost him a pole position advantage, but he's already climbing all over the back of Mike, and Mike's caught up to the Rocketman. But as we know, Rocketman passing him is a real challenge.
It's a big ask for the man from Wanganui. There's no doubt about that. Peter Rocketman Robb, one of the originals and one of the few that has never had a win. Well, Lightfoot does what he does best, gets it sideways coming out of the hairpin. He's going to lose out here, track position to Rocketman. He'll stay in the front, or will he? Oh, Lightfoot's going to argue about it. Well, he's obviously taken the bravery pills today because he's right there, isn't he? And listen to the crowd, they love this stuff. Coford's there, should any of these two make a mistake, but it's the Rocketman, one of the originals, never had a win in the UDC V8 Utes. Is he going to do it today here at Pukekohe Park Raceway?
Well, good on him, Phil. He kept the boot in hard there coming up over the mountain. That was close stuff.
Talk about close stuff. Here's a little bit of close quarters action going through the complex once again. Oh, Collinson right into the rear end of Chris Walton. Damage, and they'll just go in for round 2 as well.
And they just can't do anything about Rocketman. His lines are good and solid. He's not weaving. He's just making that ute incredibly wide.
Australia versus New Zealand. Brett the Scud Rudd trying to get down the inside of Jeremy Gray. It was never going to work, but it's going to work for Walton. What about that? Talk about never say die. 3 abreast as they come across the stripe this time, and it's the Aussie from Queensland making the big moves. And Brett Rudd, well, he gives them a bit of a tap as they go through 1, probably the 2nd fastest part of the racetrack here at Pukekohe Park Raceway, but Walton gets the spot and uses the curbs to perfection to just inch away from the Scud, Brett Rudd. Oh, very, very sideways there for the Coyote, and that is Glenn Collinson, came out of the Suzuki series. So this is a vastly different game for him. He's used to 1600cc front-wheel drive up against V8 power rear-wheel drive in these UDC V8 Utes.
Yeah, I think both him and Sam are still finding their feet in the Utes. You know, if they're always a little bit sideways, or Jack having a go at Lightfoot there and makes it stick.
Yeah, Cofoot had track position. There's nothing Lightfoot can do about it. So Phantom moves up into second, the Mobile one. Coffee Guy, point to point, sponsored Ute. Jack Cofoot getting the drive this weekend on his birthday. Mike Lightfoot sitting in behind him now, then it's Penny.
Yeah, Spence does have some damage.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. He's going to get a little bit more, I think, before this one's out, because Walton's stalking him. And it's Jeremy Gray in behind them, but it's Rocket Man Rob leading this train. Cofoot firmly in second place now. Lightfoot trying to fight back, trying to get a little bit closer. Final lap, they run to the checkered flag. Is it going to be the first win ever? He's one of the originals, is Wanganui's Peter Rocket Man Rob, and is he going to take his first win here?
Killer's still fighting his way through the field.
Well, I guess he knows, and we've been drilled into us, isn't he? It's all points, isn't it? At the end of the series, 1 or 2 points might be the big difference. Lightfoot's gone into defensive mode here to stop John Penny.
Kofed looked right up behind Rocket Man.
So they run to the checkered flag. History in the making here at Pukekohe Park Raceway, folks, for the UDC V8 Utes. One of the nicest men in the paddock is about to register his first ever win in UDC V8 Utes, and that's what, 6 seasons now. He was one of the originals. He gets a little bit sideways coming down to the checkered flag. You'd love to see what the emotions are like in the cab now for Rocket Man. He gets the win. Cofoot, what a racer. Tries to go around the outside right at the death, but can't do it. And Peter Rocket Man Rob, the High Country Helicopters Holden, gets the win here at Pukekohe. So if we have a look at the official results, Peter Robb makes history here in the UDC V8 Utes, claims his first win from Jack Cofoot, Mike Buzz Lightfoot, Chris Walton, the points champion, Jeff SOS Spencer, Jeremy Gray from Australia, and Brett the Scud Rudd. Fourth and final race for the UDC V8 Utes sees Chris Walton on pole position alongside Brett Rudd. Row number 2, it's Jeff Spencer and Mike Buzz Lightfoot. And in row number 3, it is Peter Ward and Jack Fanta Cofoot. Grid positions decided by points for the meeting thus far. Row number 4 sees Peter Robb and Sam Barry together, and in row number 5 it's John Penny and Glenn Collinson. Row number 6 is Jeremy Gray and Dave Kernahan. Now, we can tell you that this race has been shortened due to a fairly serious accident in the previous support class, so this will be a full-on sprint, Richard Gee. This is going to be a 4-lap ball terror. Chris Killer Walton holding all the cards because he's in pole position, but there's a couple of hungry Kiwis in there would love to get up and over the top of him. So the lights go out here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. You heard us say just 4 laps, so it is an all-out sprint. Short track racing on a Saturday night, that's what they call it at Western Springs. Well, not so much a short track here at Pukekohe Park Raceway, but 4 laps, it is absolute sprinting stuff. And it's Walton in the front, Scud through in second. Then Jeff Spencer, geez, had a good meeting, Jeff Spencer through in third. Peter Ward in behind him, then Mike Buzz Lightfoot.
Collinson trying around the outside of JP, oh, he hits the wall.
I think he did. I think he gave it a rub. I'm pretty sure he'll have the Pukekohe stripe as we watch the field go down the back straight for the first of 4 times. Remember, we should probably talk once again about the Trans-Tasman Challenge here because points on offer for that.
Oh, a massive locker by Wardy.
Wardy, it might have been the safe thing to run it straight through, go through the chicane and then find the position later, but he's got it back under control again. He's dropped a few spots, so he's back in about 5th now.
Lightfoot nipped through. So, yeah, the Trans-Tasman, we've got the 3 Aussie-based drivers, Kofed, Gray and Walton, versus the top 3 Kiwi qualifiers, which is Rudd, Lightfoot and Glenn Collinson. And going into this final race, or some more action there, the Kiwis were just a minute number of points ahead. So
it is all to play for here in this absolute full-on sprint as Jeremy Gray uses the curbs, probably not the way they were designed for. Over the top of the ITM mountain they come, and it's Killer Walton out in the front. Wardy's on the grass. Unbelievable, and he's got it back, and is he going to kiss the wall on the other side? No. How did he do that?
Well, Sam Barry followed him in again. I don't know whether you noticed, but again, massive catches by both of them at one of the fastest and most daunting points on the whole circuit.
Well, if you want to prove the fact that some people say that these guys can't drive, just look at that. What a brilliant save from Peter Chaos Ward. Love to see that on the replay. Got horribly wrong at one of the fastest parts of the circuit. And there he is, retained his composure again and towing the train down the back straight.
He'll be grinning. He kept it all together. He'll be thinking how close he got and just get the foot back hard in it.
Well, that's the technique or the strategy for all of them, isn't it? Especially in a 4-lap race.
Sam having another look upside Collinson.
Can't quite get it done, just caught out on track position there. John Penny in it as well. There's Collinson, there's Sam Barry. Now, these guys were teammates for a lot of years, but then they had a bit of a falling out, didn't they, at Highlands at the first round of the UDC V8 Utes, and I think there might be a little bit of bad blood there because they're going at it like there is absolutely no tomorrow, like it's the World Championships.
Yeah, look, they're racing between those two guys is absolutely fierce. Rocket Man there just slugging it out with Glenn.
Well, he'll be riding on an absolute high, having taken his first win very, very sideways as he comes off of bumps and heads up over the ITM mountain again. There he is, the Hill Country helicopter's holding. Peter Ward mounting a challenge once again. This time he keeps it on the black stuff, though. You can hear the Utes bouncing on the last bumps of their suspension over the notorious bumps here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. And while we're concentrating on the battles further down through the field, Chris Walton is doing all he can for the Australians, gathering points in the Trans-Tasman Championship at the top end of the field.
Yeah, and look, he did what he had to do, which was get out earlier. Here's your replay, Phil.
Oh, Wardy and Sam Barry, both of them on the grass. Maybe a sponsorship from Massport is in order. Here it is from the wide shot. Look at that. How did he keep it off the concrete? And once again, full opposite lock from Chaos Ward.
And for the viewers at home, that's flat in 4th gear. They're pulling some Ks up over there.
That is very, very fast. The Scuds got past Jeff Spencer while we've been looking at that replay as they come out of the complex and head to the hairpin once again.
Well, Brett and Jeff are slugging it out really for 2nd place overall for the round. And if... another lock-up.
Another bit of contact there, Jack Coford in the centre of it. Very sideways is Glenn Collinson, and that allows Petey to sneak up the inside, and he'll have track position as they head down into the notorious bumps here. Well, there's so many bumps at Pukekohe Park Raceway, but there's a big one here that's caught a few out today. There it is. You just saw the Penny Holmes Ford just jumping across the track as it goes through the bumps. This race about to finish because we're on the last lap, and Chris Killer Walton is going to register another win here and extend his points lead in the UDC V8 Utes Championship. There he is, out of the hairpin for the last time. Really impressed with Brett Rudd this weekend. Really has come up in leaps and bounds since the previous round.
And 2nd place here will secure him 2nd place for the round.
Jeff Spencer in behind him, and then it's Mike Buzz Lightfoot. There's the crowd pleaser, Peter Chaos Ward. There's Fanta. We talked about him, Jeff Coford, Jack Coford, I beg his pardon. But we've talked about this guy for all the right reasons because he's going to win the final race of the day for the UDC V8 Utes here at Pukekohe Park Raceway. 2nd place will be the Scud, and in 3rd it should be Jeff Spencer. We'll get the official confirmations as the rest of the field comes across the line, and I'm sure there'll be some tired bodies and there'll be some tired engineers working out the kinks and the bumps of all these cars. You'll see some damage on the multi-Spears Ford, but not enough to stop this guy dominating over the weekend. Chris Killer Walton wins the 4th and final race here from Brett the Scud Rudd, Jeff SOS Spencer, Mike Buzz Lightfoot, Peter Chaos Ward, Jack Fanta Coford, JP John Penny, Glenn Coyote Collinson, Peter Robb and Sam Barry.